What is up, everyone? It's your boy, Sonic, the Wrestling Reporter Hedgehog, and I am back with another video. Today, I'm going to be coming to you fast and quick. Not fast and quick like in a way, like I'm going to make this video quick and fast, because today, we're going to be doing a triple threat topic today. That's right, we got 3 topics that I've chosen and we're going to be talking about them. So as you can see here, I got Seth Rollins because that's our first topic. Next topic is going to be NXT, about what's going on tomorrow, April 15th on NXT. And also, we're also going to be talking about the predictions for Money in the Bank 2020. So without further ado, let us begin with Seth Rollins. I love Seth Rollins. I really do. Whether babyface or heel, he continues to entertain the masses on WWE Raw, though I personally think a heel Seth Rollins is best for the business. Having said that, am I the only fan within the WWE Universe that is scratching their head around the concept that Seth Rollins losing that WrestleMania 36 somehow equals out to him becoming #1 contender to face Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship? Last night's Raw had arrows pointing everywhere that the Monday Night Messiah would be the next headline via for that WWE title. It goes without saying that a loss on any level shouldn't warrant a title match, especially a loss on the grandest stage of them all, which also equaled out to a major WrestleMania 36 moment for Kevin Owens. It just doesn't make sense. It continues to reflect a long-standing tradition where the WWE forces storylines that go against common sense in order to build up a fast-approaching pay-per-view main event on near horizon. What does make sense, however, is that amongst a COVID-19 pandemic, where WWE shows that take place in front of a roaring live audience are a thing of the past, and the rosters on both brands seem thinning in the sense that not all talent is spotlighted on every episode. Perhaps WWE creative doesn't have a huge superstar pool to pick at. What also makes sense is a newly crowned babyface champion looking for a valuable heel contender to continue his uprising momentum within the WWE Universe. Drew McIntyre needs to face a bona fide bad guy in his next program to not only solidify his championship WrestleMania win and current reign, but also help continue his push as a top babyface within the company. There's no greater heel out there, well, other than the outgoing Brock Lesnar, who has probably retreated back home to another long overdue hiatus, to help accomplish this goal than Mr. Rollins. He's great at playing a despicable bad guy, even better within his current narcissistic role. And if the idea is to continue with Drew's championship build-up, then sending Rollins in for McIntyre's first post-Mania program makes sense on those accounts. The two will deliver some incredible promos, assuming their match takes place at Money in the Bank, which it probably will. No doubt in my mind, it probably will. And if it's the main event, that would actually be pretty good. The bout itself very well could be a memorable one for 2020, besides the Boneyard match at WrestleMania 36. Still, while the WWE does have challenges right now, then is choosing Rollins as the guy to go up against Drew the right idea here. In the end, it may be their only plausible choice, despite the confusion. So things are going to be interesting if these two really do go at each other. So, our next topic that we will be talking about is NXT. Now, these are the predictions for NXT on Wednesday, April 15th. So, let's get started with our second topic in our triple threat video. NXT is set to take place on April 15th, 2020 at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, live on the USA Network with no audience in attendance. The following will preview and predict the major matches and segments that will occur on this episode. On this week's episode of NXT, there are no official scheduled matches or scheduled segments as of this writing. Me talking to you guys. However, Money in the Bank 2020 is coming up, and there's bound to be some NXT matches announced for the event since it is a Big 5 pay-per-view where all brands congregate. I think that's how you say it. Sorry if I'm butchering words right now. NXT Champion Adam Cole and NXT Women's Champion Charlotte Flair should be present for this episode of NXT. Third championship matches for Money in the Bank 2020 could also be potential setup, as was announced with Braun Strowman's potential Universal Championship match with The Fiend Bray Wyatt, and Bayley's potential SmackDown Women's Championship match with Tamina from Friday Night SmackDown. With that being said, it's now time to preview and predict this week's NXT. To start things off, let's predict the winners of Group A and Group B for the NXT Cruiserweight Championship Tournament. And that starts things off at number 5. Kushida wins Group A, and Isaiah Swerve Scott wins Group B of the NXT Cruiserweight Championship Tournament. Group A of the NXT Cruiserweight Championship Tournament consists of Kushida, Drake Maverick, Tony Nese, and Jake Atlas. Kushida would win Group A not only because he is the most popular choice, but also because he has gained a significant amount of wins on NXT to warrant a decent shot at becoming the interim NXT Cruiserweight Champion. Group B of the NXT Cruiserweight Championship Tournament consists of Isaiah Swerve Scott, El Hijo Fantasma, Akira Tozawa, and Gentleman Jack Gallagher. Isaiah Swerve Scott should win Group B not only because he is the most popular choice, but also because he has been involved in a significant amount of Cruiserweight Championship matches to warrant a decent shot at becoming... I can't even speak right now. I'm tired right now. At becoming the interim NXT Cruiserweight Champion. Although some naysayers might foresee a babyface battling a heel in the finals of this tournament, it should be a babyface versus babyface finals since the original champion, Jordan Devlin, is already a heel. However, whoever becomes the interim NXT Cruiserweight Champion should battle Jordan Devlin down the line, and pitting a babyface against another babyface in the finals of this tournament would thereby make anything less predictable. Henceforth, Kushida versus Isaiah Swerve Scott should be the finals of this tournament, which I hope it actually does happen. Since Jordan Devlin won the NXT Cruiserweight Championship after pinning Isaiah Swerve Scott at NXT versus NXT UK Worlds Collide, Scott winning this tournament would be a more meaningful, redemptive moment for him, as it would give him a chance to not only win his very first Cruiserweight Championship in the WWE, but also retain that title against Jordan Devlin once he returns. Number 4, Charlotte Flair challenges Io Shirai to their NXT Women's Championship match at Money in the Bank 2020. Last week on NXT, Io Shirai, sorry for butchering that name, won a 6-woman ladder match against Cadence LeRae, Chelsea Green, Mia Yim, Tegan Nox, and Dakota Kai to become the next #1 contender for the NXT Women's Championship. Since Charlotte became the NXT Women's Championship after dethroning Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania 36, Shirai is officially the next opponent for Charlotte. Instead of booking this championship match for a regular episode of NXT, it should be booked for a bigger stage, which is Money in the Bank 2020. The case will be made for Charlotte Flair and Io Shirai to merely have their NXT Women's Championship at the next NXT TakeOver. However, the next NXT TakeOver won't occur until SummerSlam season in August, and that TakeOver should be reserved for a championship rematch between Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley. With Charlotte Flair already being a main roster superstar and Io Shirai potentially getting called up soon, WWE Money in the Bank 2020 would be the ideal stage for a show-stealing championship match that could further put NXT on the map. Number 3, Adam Cole stalls his NXT Championship match with Velveteen Dream until Money in the Bank 2020. Every week on NXT, Adam Cole has been reiterating that Velveteen Dream does not deserve an opportunity against his NXT Championship. Instead of defending his championship against the Dream, he has been booking Dream in matches with his fellow Undisputed Era brethren every other week. Which is messed up because, in my opinion, Velveteen Dream deserves a title shot. Rather not what Adam Cole thinks. Velveteen Dream deserves an NXT Championship match. Hands down in a story. 2 weeks ago on NXT, Velveteen Dream defeated Bobby Fish. It is very likely that he will defeat Kyle O'Reilly and Roger Strong in the following weeks, before finally grilling Adam Cole's gears and proving that he is indeed a worthy challenger for the NXT Championship. Since there are 4 weeks left before Money in the Bank 2020, Velveteen Dream has ample time to defeat both Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong before challenging Adam Cole for the NXT Championship. Now, in my opinion, this is the way I'm thinking right now. Okay? Since there's only 4 weeks left until Money in the Bank 2020, I predict that Adam Cole is going to pit Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong against Velveteen Dream in a 2-on-1 handicap match, and somehow Velveteen Dream will prevail over them both, and Adam Cole's going to try to do something about that. If Dream tries to win, Adam Cole's going to do anything he can to make sure Velveteen Dream does not get that title, which Velveteen Dream deserves the NXT Championship. No doubt in my mind, he does. But anyway, back to our topics. Instead of booking this high-stake championship match for a regular episode of NXT or waiting until the next NXT TakeOver in August, it would be ideal to book it for Money in the Bank 2020. In a similar manner to how Adam Cole and Pete Dunne were booked for an NXT Championship match at one of the big 5 pay-per-views, Survivor Series 2019. Number 2, Killer Cross and Scarlett Bordeaux's sneak attack Johnny Gargano and Cadence LaRail. Last week on NXT, Johnny Gargano ended his final chapter with Tommaso Ciampa by nervously defeating him with Cadence LaRail's assistance. When Gargano and LaRail celebrated their victory and escaped the empty arena to the parking lot, there were two superstars spying on them with a nearby vehicle, Killer Cross and Scarlett Bordeaux. It looks like a mixed tag team rivalry will be surfacing on NXT, featuring these four superstars. This is not the first time Killer Cross had appeared when Johnny Gargano was present, for he also appeared on a Titantron when Triple H was announcing the last match between Gargano and Ciampa 2 weeks ago on NXT. Now that the rivalry between Gargano and Ciampa is over, Killer Cross and Scarlett Bordeaux now have the opportunity to execute a sneak attack on Gargano and LaRail on this week's NXT. They have teased their debut long enough. It's now time to plant the seeds and potentially put an end to the cohorts and souls of NXT. Number 1. This actually took guts to actually think of this one. Number 1. Tommaso Ciampa leaves NXT. On the other hand, Tommaso Ciampa does not have a foreseeable direction in NXT. Most WWE fans thought he would retrieve the championship he never lost, or in Ciampa's words, be Goldie's daddy. After his 9-month neck injury by defeating Adam Cole for the NXT Championship at NXT TakeOver Portland, but he failed because of Johnny Gargano's betrayal. Most WWE fans thought he would get his revenge and become the ultimate face of NXT by defeating Gargano in their final match on last week's NXT, but he failed because of Cadence LaRail's interference. Ciampa had so many opportunities to redeem himself, but he failed. Does he have a place in NXT anymore? Despite the reported rumors spurring on him retiring instead of accepting a main roster call-up, it's probably time for him to go to the main roster. After putting over the current NXT champion as well as the face of NXT, there is just nothing left for him to do in the yellow brand. So whatever happens to Tommaso Ciampa, he will do excellent. And now the final topic for today's triple threat is Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank 2020 comes to us on May 10th, probably from the WWE Performance Center, and we take a look at how the entire night could turn out. While originally scheduled to take place in Baltimore, Money in the Bank 2020 now looks set to broadcast live from the WWE Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. WWE has yet to confirm the location, but concerning Loyal Farms Arena has already confirmed their event has been canceled due to the threat of COVID-19, and WWE has continued to advertise the event and date without mention of a location. It's safe to expect to see it at the WWE Performance Center. The only matches currently confirmed are the 2 Money in the Bank ladder matches, with some qualifying matches having already been taken place and others announced to take place soon. Here we'll take a look at how the full card could shape up based on WWE's recent episodes of SmackDown and Raw, and the likely winners of each match. The kickoff show: Air Force One, Ricochet and Cedric Alexander, sorry if I butchered names again, versus Angel Garza and Austin Theory. While a match on the kickoff show isn't really needed when there's no physically present crowd to hype up. That probably won't stop WWE from putting one on. The most likely candidate features two relatively new tag teams pitted against each other in what could easily be a fast-paced way to set the pace of Money in the Bank 2020. Ricochet and Cedric Alexander aren't officially dubbed Air Force One just yet, but I currently hope the name, which was mentioned by them on Twitter, sticks. Garza and Theory have been recent mainstays on Raw and unsuccessfully challenged for the Raw Tag Team titles, making them an easy choice against hopefully eventually champions Air Force One. My prediction, Air Force One defeats Angel Garza and Austin Theory. Next we have The Miz and John Morrison versus Heavy Machinery in a match for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. The Miz and John Morrison were still the SmackDown Tag Team Champions by the end of WrestleMania 36, but did so by the skin of their teeth. While the New Day and the Usos are currently clamoring for a rematch this Friday on SmackDown with the opposite partners that competed at WrestleMania, I expect Miz and Morrison to narrowly retain once again. That leaves them in need of new challengers. It's obviously time to put Heavy Machinery in that spot. After Otis scored a huge win over Dolph Ziggler at WrestleMania 36, this is the perfect opportunity to see Heavy Machinery capture their first titles in WWE. Prediction: Heavy Machinery defeats the Dirt Sheet, The Miz and John Morrison, to become the new SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Next up, we have the Street Profits versus the Viking Raiders in a match for the Raw Tag Team Championships. After the Viking Raiders picked up an impressive victory over Air Force One, it's going to be a thing, I promise you that. That Air Force One will be the team name that Ricochet and Cedric Alexander will pick. They motioned for the titles and Eric would be soon mouthing, "We want the smoke." The message was clear, and they seem primed to get that championship opportunity at Money in the Bank, while the Viking Raiders will currently provide a stiff challenge to Street Profits, especially considering their success against them in NXT. However, I still expect Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins to walk out Money in the Bank as the reigning champions. Prediction: Street Profits defeat the Viking Raiders to retain the Raw Tag Team titles. This match right here, I hope it really does happen. Mandy Rose versus Sonya Deville. At WrestleMania 36, we had the shocking reveal that Sonya Deville had intentionally sabotaged the budding relationship between Mandy Rose and Rose. In a fury, Rose came out and attacked Deville at ringside. This Friday they'll be face to face about the situation. It's not a stretch for this to extend into a grudge match between former tag team partners at Money in the Bank. While I love to see Rose get her compliments, I think this will actually see Deville, potentially with help from Dolph Ziggler, take the victory and later turn her focus to the SmackDown Women's Championship. But however, I'm also thinking that if this match does happen at Money in the Bank, Sonya Deville's going to have Dolph Ziggler in her corner, and Otis will be in Mandy Rose's corner. So I'm going with Mandy Rose defeats Sonya Deville. Next we have Andrade versus Kevin Owens in a United States Championship match. After an undeniable WrestleMania moment where Kevin Owens defeated Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 36 after jumping off the massive WrestleMania sign, Kevin Owens will be looking for success to prove that WWE Raw is still the Kevin Owens show. The prime target would be Andrade, who started a rampage this week with Angel Garza and Austin Theory by his side. Owens is no stranger to having the odds stacked against him, having dealt with Seth Rollins' relentlessly supply of followers for what felt like months on end. Andrade could be on the path to leading a dominant young faction in Raw. But however, I predict Kevin Owens will defeat Andrade to become the new United States champion. Next, we have Sami Zayn versus Drew Gulak in a match for the Intercontinental Championship. After Daniel Bryan failed to defeat Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 36, I don't expect him to have another opportunity soon, despite the interference that helped Zayn retain. However, that doesn't mean Bryan can't lead someone else to victory. Turning the tables on the original plan of Gulak helping Bryan close holes in his own in-ring strategy, we could see Bryan now try to help Gulak to the success he couldn't manage. With Bryan at ringside to mitigate interference and his experience lent to his ally, we just might see Drew Gulak knock off Sami Zayn to become the new Intercontinental Champion. My prediction, Drew Gulak defeats Sami Zayn to become the new Intercontinental Champion. Next, we have the Women's Money in the Bank match, which I predict is going to be Asuka, Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax, which, by the way, them three girls I just said, Asuka, Nia Jax, and Shayna Baszler, are already in the Money in the Bank match. But the three girls that I predict will be in it for SmackDown, Sasha Banks, Naomi, and Nikki Cross. So far, we've got 3 confirmed names for the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match, including, like I said, Asuka, Shayna Baszler, and Nia Jax. The other 3 are likely to come from SmackDown, and my picks would be, like I said, Sasha Banks, Naomi, and WWE Women's Tag Team Champion Nikki Cross. While Bliss might seem the more experienced option, the unpredictability of Cross could add an interesting element to a match that already includes forces like Asuka and Shayna Baszler. As for a winner to predict, the perfect pick has got to be either Shayna Baszler or Sasha Banks, who could provide a truly terrifying threat carrying the Money in the Bank briefcase in the upcoming months. Next up, we have the Men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Rey Mysterio. So there has been no confirmed people for the Men's Money in the Bank yet. So here's who I think will be in it. Rey Mysterio, Aleister Black, Apollo Crews, Shinsuke Nakamura, Baron Corbin, Elias. There are 3 qualifying matches already announced for the upcoming episode of Raw, and the victors I expect to emerge from those are Rey Mysterio, Aleister Black, and Apollo Crews. That leaves SmackDown to fill out the rest of the field, with the most likely choices being Shinsuke Nakamura, Baron Corbin, and Elias. As for the winner, this one is harder to predict. While a veteran like Shinsuke Nakamura or Rey Mysterio could certainly take the briefcase, my prediction goes to the recently dominant Aleister Black. Just imagine the threat of Aleister Black and a devastating black mask lurking at the end of every potential WWE Championship or Universal Championship match. Next up, we have Bayley versus Tamina in a SmackDown Women's Championship match. This coming week, we will see Tamina take on Sasha Banks to see if Tamina can earn an opportunity at SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley. It was Bayley who handpicked Banks, which the boss didn't actually seem thrilled by. If WWE is smart, they'll hold off on Banks and Bayley's eventual collision at least until SummerSlam, and Tamina is a great choice in the interim. Tamina's victory over Banks would only add tension between the boss and the role model, but I expect Bayley to take the win and leave Money in the Bank still holding the SmackDown Women's Championship. Prediction: Bayley defeats Tamina to retain the SmackDown Women's Championship. Next, Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship. At WrestleMania 36, we saw Becky Lynch defy the terrifying threat of Shayna Baszler and leave as still the Raw Women's Champion. She's now held that title for over 365 days. 365 days, folks. Which begs the question of who could possibly take the title from her. While her victory might be a long shot, it's certainly possible the EST of WWE could shock the world at Money in the Bank and knock off the man to become the new Raw Women's Champion after making her impact by taking out Zelina Vega and declaring herself a member of the Raw roster. Bianca Belair would be an instant main event star if she could dethrone Lynch at Money in the Bank. Prediction: Belair defeats Lynch to become the new Raw Women's Champion. Drew McIntyre for Seth Rollins for the WWE Championship. Drew McIntyre went through two behemoth-sized challengers in one night at WrestleMania 36. In the main event, McIntyre dethroned the Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar, to become the new WWE Champion, and even successfully defended less than a half in an hour later against the Big Show. After Rollins' ambush of McIntyre on Raw, the Monday Night Messiah seems acutely focused on regaining his spot at the top of the food chain. Seth Rollins will provide a perfect challenge early in McIntyre's title reign, but the sexy Scotsman, as some ladies would put it, are sure to exit Money in the Bank still holding the WWE Championship. Prediction: Drew McIntyre defeats Seth Rollins to retain the WWE Championship. Next up, we have the Universal Championship match. Braun Strowman versus The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. And I predict this match will be the main event. In the night's main event, we're likely to see recently crowned Universal Champion Braun Strowman taking on his former Wyatt family leader in The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. Of course, Bray is a far cry from who he was back when Strowman was part of his flock. We saw Wyatt clearly target Strowman at the end of last week's edition of SmackDown. Strowman didn't back down from the challenge. The reality is that Strowman is only champion because of the last-minute withdrawal of Roman Reigns, who understandably chose to worry about his health more than WrestleMania 36. Good choice, Roman. Because of that, I expect The Fiend to follow up his unforgettable Firefly Funhouse match victory over John Cena by dethroning Braun Strowman once again, becoming Universal Champion. Prediction: The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, defeats Braun Strowman to become the new Universal Champion. So yes, that's the end of the Triple Threat video. Thank you guys so much for joining me in this video. I'm going to possibly set this up as a premiere. I'm not going to upload it right now because of the fact that I have to be at work in 10 minutes. So the time right now is 10:30. So I have to be at work in 10 minutes, clock in at 11, then stay there until whenever, because I don't remember my schedule whatsoever. Alright, thank you guys so much for joining me in this video. Please hit that like and subscribe button for me, and I'll be back whenever to give you some more videos. This is Sonic, the Wrestling Reporter Hedgehog, saying thank you very much for joining. Gotta go fast.